In today's video we will discuss the vital aspects of polyphasic sleep that is very rarely talked about, the mentality of polyphasic sleepers, and why it can completely remove any possibility to adapt. Stay tuned. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Crimson Flower and I'm a main author of Polyphasic.net, the community recommended resource for polyphasic sleepers. Okay, so as the title of the video says, the question is I want to ask you to ask yourself is, should I admit failure? What do I mean by this? Well, what I'm about to tell you might make you very surprised, but polyphasic sleeping is really hard, okay? While we provide tons and tons of tips on how to adapt, it's very hard to actually do it on the first try. Even if you have all the necessary information for a successful adaptation, first-hand experience is going to be almost necessary if you want to succeed. In fact, I have talked about my personal polyphasic experience in a previous video, linked in the description. You might have noticed that I only adapted to my first schedule on the 5th try, and if I would have abandoned polyphasic sleeping after I failed my first segmented attempt, I would never have gotten here. And that might sound reasonable and expected, but you'd be surprised how many people join the Discord, log a few days there, even several days sometimes, and then just disappear. The issue with these people is that they were unable to admit failure to themselves. If you constantly possess a winner attitude, like you are unable to actually fail because you're a winner, it's very possible that you prefer to run away rather than facing the fact that you didn't succeed. When you run away, it's very hard to go back and try again. Now, there might be exceptions to this, but it seems like that's the case with people I observe. Instead of abandoning polyphasic sleeping after failure, you need to take the appropriate action to ensure that you will succeed in the future instead. If you notice that you've fallen into an oversleeping syndrome cycle, which we talked about previously on a video, the link to it will also be in the description, you will definitely feel hurt and saddened with yourself. I mean, you've just put weeks of effort into something that failed, and it's going to make you feel very bad. But in this situation, you should make sure that instead of going to cry in a corner or running away, you should evaluate what went wrong. Maybe your alarm setup failed. Recover and improve it. Maybe you had a weak will and you gave in to your bed craving for cuddles. Recover and sleep on the floor next time. Don't be foolish. Give up the battle, but don't give up the war, okay? If your schedule was attempted and it was too difficult for you, try an easier one. I guarantee that you will not regret experiencing what an adapted polyphasic schedule feels like. And it's so funny. When people who have failed their polyphasic schedule return to mono and recover, almost all of them exclusively comment on the fact that monophasic sleep makes them feel so much worse than polyphasic sleep, even when they were very sleep deprived. When they are forced to return to monophasic sleep, they are suddenly reminded of all the reasons why they wanted to do polyphasic sleeping in the first time. If you fail to adapt and are forced to return to mono, I want you to remember that feeling of even what a polyphasic adaptation felt like, not a successful adaptation, but one in the process, okay? Not even the adapted state, but merely the unadapted one. If it felt better like that than when you're sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours at night on monophasic, you want to use that as a driving force to return to polyphasic sleeping when you are able to. So let's say that you've regained your willpower to try polyphasic sleeping again. What's the next step? Well, as I already said, you should evaluate what went wrong and fix it. If you are looking for more specific situations, you can check out the other videos on this channel, as well as read on polyphasic.net what we say there. Fortunately, once you reach certain milestones once, it will be easier to reach them again. So your first attempt is, in a sense, taking the largest hit here, making the subsequent adaptations easier. These milestones include falling asleep for naps, achieving REM sleep in naps, and successfully segmenting your core sleeps or splitting up the sleep architecture so one side of your sleep is heavy on SWS and the other one is heavy on REM sleep. Once your body has learned how to do that once, it will most likely take far less time to achieve it again. This experience that you gain in your failed adaptation will be extremely beneficial for your subsequent ones. You will have more knowledge on what triggers sleepiness, what makes it hard to fall asleep, what you should do and should not do, and so on. Evaluate your attempt and log all these things physically, so they just don't stick in your mind, you know. Either use the Discord bot, the Discord adaptation logs channel to log, or write up your experiences in a notebook, you know. Make them physical, don't just keep them in your mind, because it will be much easier to remember that way. Okay people, I hope that I've been able to pursue you into trying another adaptation again, even if you failed once. Don't give up even if you don't make it the first time. Use the experience that you gain to win the next time. Okay, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll be seeing you in another video. Remember to nap well, people!